I, 26 female, have been with my husband, Caden, 26, for 8 years, and we've been married for 4. We have a toddler together, and we're expecting baby number 2. My relationship with Caden's brother and his wife has never been great. She got really weird around me pretty quickly, and things soured from there. Caden told me his sister-in-law was jealous that I hit it off so well with his mom and sister, but especially his sister, and that his brother had always kind of followed his wife's lead. His sister-in-law has been around the family since she was a kid, and she and my brother-in-law have been together since high school. She always thought she would be like the second daughter of the family, but sister-in-law and her have always clashed a little and were never tight. Caden has been great about standing up for me when needed, and he shut down his sister-in-law on more than one occasion when she was being rude. One of the things that has resulted from all this is Caden's sister-in-law insisted that I will never be her children's aunt. They have specifically been told that I'm not their aunt, and they're not to call me Aunt Emmy. I've been kept at a distance from the kids during family gatherings, and generally, sister-in-law will ensure I don't interact with her kids. Caden sees them less because he refuses to have me leave our home so they can visit, something his sister-in-law tried to insist on. My relationship with my sister-in-law, Caden's sister, is the best though, and we're close. She has a child the same age as mine, and she'll come over and we hang out with our toddlers. Since she's here so often, I'll often have enough food for both kiddos. She has picked up some inspiration from me on how to introduce food to toddlers, since she said her kiddo eats better since they started hanging out with us. She mentioned it at a family dinner recently because her parents commented how much better her kiddo was eating too, and the different plates she used. She said it was all thanks to me and was saying how she really owed me one. Caden's sister-in-law asked why she hangs out with me so much and never spends time with her. It brought up some of the underlying issues simmering around between us. She then asked why I never do that for her kids and why I'm not sharing my vast knowledge with her. Caden jumped in and said she's made her feelings clear about me and has ordered me to stay away from her kids. So how am I supposed to do any of that with her or them? The next day, she asked if the kids could come over for lunch, and I said no. She asked about another day, and I said no again. She then told me I was an idiot and excluding her kids. I told Caden what happened, and he talked to his brother, or more like fought with him. I do feel kind of bad for the kids, and I would love to get to know them better, but I don't trust their parents in any of this. Am I the idiot for refusing to feed my husband's nieces and nephews? Not the idiot. She's jealous and now wants to hone in on what you and other sister-in-law are doing. I bet if you did have them over, the food wouldn't be right, and she'd have all sorts of demands, and she would expect your family to pay for it. Or she'd drop them off and disappear for the day. She wants a free babysitter and free food for her kids. Good for you and your husband putting a stop to it ever starting. If anything, her family should ask if your kids could come over so you would have a break, being pregnant and all. Caden's sister-in-law insisted I will never be her children's aunt. They've specifically been told that I'm not their aunt and they're not to call me Aunt Emmy. Wow, now they want to have it both ways, or to put it another way, take advantage of your good nature. This is probably why you get on well with mom and sis. You're a nice person, and they don't seem to like the sister-in-law as much. They see her for what she really is. Yep, I'd tell her I'd do it only if she FaceTimes with the kids and apologizes for her behavior in front of them and tells them she was wrong to tell them not to call her Aunt Emmy. She'd never do it because her pride wouldn't let her. On the slim chance that she did do it, it opens up a whole other door where sister-in-law will forever have to own up to her idiocy. So my girlfriend begged me to attend her family's Thanksgiving party at her aunt's house this year. I was opposed since I don't like to spend holidays away from my sister, but I agreed because this was important to her. I dressed up reasonably nice, made a good impression during the food portion, and so on. Throughout the day, her cousin Maggie and I had lots to talk about. My girlfriend never mentioned it, but she's doing the same major as me. Also, she's a huge One Piece fan, just like me. She's also seen a ton of my favorite anime. We really hit it off. After everyone was basically done eating, and most people were watching football, She said she set up her switch downstairs so she didn't have to deal with the noise while in her room, and a few pro controllers, and that we could play Smash Brothers until I had to go. That sounded like fun to me, and I was getting bored, and I didn't realize we'd be staying so long. I told my girlfriend where she could find me. Apparently, she gave me a look, telling me not to do that, whatever that's supposed to mean, and I went with her. My girlfriend was furious on the drive to drop me back to my parents' house for some reason. She asked why I just decided to ditch her the entire day, how embarrassing it was for the two of us to just go screw off together, etc. Obviously, that's not true. I was only down there for about 3 hours out of the 5.5 hours we were there in total. Also, she came down several times for a few minutes to chat with us. There's no reason she couldn't have stayed if she wanted. She ditched me, if anything. I truly cannot see that I've done anything wrong. She's overreacting. If anything, she's in the wrong for getting angry over nothing. Am I the idiot? I was only down there for like 3 hours out of the 5.5 hours we were there total. So, you spent most of your time not with your girlfriend or the rest of her family when invited over for Thanksgiving? You are the idiot. I don't think you made the good impression you think you did, my guy. Best of luck with the fallout of this. You spend more time with the cousin than with your girlfriend. Wow, sounds like you're still a boy and couldn't suck it up for a few hours to spend time with her and her family. Like, dude, how clueless could you be? You didn't even seem to care about your girlfriend for the whole event, despite it being important to her. You have a lot of growing to do to become a man. You don't know how lucky you are to have someone who cares about you enough that she wants, begged even, you to share a holiday with her and her family. Some people never find someone who's devoted to them. If you're in college, I'd expect you to have at least a bare minimum of knowledge, of common courtesy, and proper guest behavior. You don't have this. Good news, though. You don't have to worry about spending Christmas with your girlfriend. Heck, there are pretty good odds you won't have a girlfriend for much longer. I don't know. It sounds like the cousin might be an option. That was my first thought. She's never mentioned it before, but her cousin and I have a ton in common. Can't imagine why it wasn't mentioned before, if this is how we handled it. LOL. Girlfriend is better off ending this relationship and trying to date someone more courteous and less selfish. I, 29 female, am getting married next May to my boyfriend of 11 years, 29. We've been engaged since the birth of our kid a few years ago. Due to a number of circumstances, chiefly finances, we have had a long engagement. I've been friends with Caitlin, 31 female, since grade school, and although we're not best friends, we've had a long and joyful friendship that means a lot to me. I went to Caitlin's wedding to her college sweetheart, which happened when she graduated at 23. Unfortunately, her husband was found in a bathroom stall with his coworker at the reception. My heart broke for her, and I was part of her support system in the aftermath. She's now happily remarried with 2 kids of her own. In planning my wedding, the one thing I've been struggling with for years is the dress. My body image is poor, and I have an unusually large chest that makes all clothes shopping awful. But I went thrift shopping last week and found the dress. It was everything I could have dreamed of, and it fits me. I literally fell to my knees crying in the dressing room. Right away, I sent a photo to everyone I could think of, including Caitlin. She called me immediately. I didn't see it then, but when I got home, I saw multiple missed calls and texts from Caitlin. So it's her wedding dress from her marriage to her ex. Apparently, she finally decided to let it go. Since it was so long ago, I genuinely didn't recognize it. It's also not as if she goes around parading her wedding photos. Once she said it, I remembered right away. It also made sense as one of the things she and I bond over is boob size. I tried to laugh it off, but she said, "I'm sure they'll let you return it under the circumstances." I felt sick because she obviously didn't want me to wear the dress, and I was already super attached to it. I stopped engaging for the rest of the night and talked it over with my fiancé and some other friends. Opinions are split. Some know how hard this process has been for me and think Caitlin's being petty. Honestly, I don't. I get where she's coming from, but I literally cannot keep looking. and it was $30. I have a young child. I would love to spend wedding dress money on her instead. Some say it's not only a bad omen, but disrespectful to ask Caitlin to look at me in her dress. In my opinion, Caitlin has moved on and has a family. If the roles were reversed, I would be thrilled for her. That said, I do understand that I could be the idiot by reminding a friend I do love of one of the worst days of her life. I tried talking to her about it the next day, but she's been firm on not attending my wedding if I wear this dress. She said she's rethinking the friendship in general. I'm gutted and don't think that's fair. I would love to find a solution that allows me to keep the dress and my friend, which is why I'm posting here. Am I the idiot? What can I do? No idiots here, but I wouldn't want to have anything to do with it. It's got bad energy, and I'm not one of those crystals and zodiac girls either. But the circumstances surrounding it would be enough for me not to want to be anywhere near it, not even if it were altered to be unrecognizable. Plus, it would hurt your friend terribly. You would be within your rights, technically, but is it worth it? Yeah, this is how I feel. I don't really believe clothes have energy, but considering what happened to the last bride while she was wearing the dress, I wouldn't have any interest in wearing it for my wedding. If it was a random bride, that wouldn't matter to me. But a close friend, too? That's like buying the house where your friend's parents were murdered or something. Every object has a past, but it's strange if it's a past connected to you directly. Can you imagine you're at your wedding, you get married, and then you find your new husband cheating on you at the reception? That's got to be about the most painful way to find out. Then your really good friend gets married, and you must look at her in your dress. The dress you suffered through that day, a symbol of being so hurt and so wronged, thrown in your face. Then you see that dress all over your social media, in your house, and probably on your phone. I completely get her not wanting to attend. You can wear it, but don't expect her to be there, congratulate you, or anything else. She may be okay seeing you eventually. You are the idiot, OP. She's made it perfectly clear where she stands, and you're still trying to find a way to get everything you want. You will not be able to keep the dress and the friend. Period. It's up to you which is more important. I, 32 female, have been with my long-term boyfriend, 35 male, for 7 years now. I'm not religious, nor am I someone who thinks marriage is necessary in a long-term relationship, but I admit that the bureaucratic benefits are great. My boyfriend, on the other hand, is someone who believes in the institution of marriage. When we started getting serious about 9 months into our relationship, we discussed marriage, and I made it clear that I have some conditions before I would marry him. Chief among them was that he should get rid of his debt and improve his finances, not income, but how he manages them. Now, 6 years later, after a lot of effort from him and help from me, he's consumer debt-free and almost done with his student loans, as in they would be paid by February next year, and we seriously discussed getting married soon after. I made it clear that I wanted to not spend a lot on the whole affair. Well, he proposed on Saturday, and it was a beautiful affair, and of course I said yes. Then we get home and I ask about my ring. He proudly informs me that it costs $14,000. At first I thought he took it from our savings to buy it, and I was angry, but I became even more angry when he said that he got it on payments. I gave it back and said that I no longer accept his proposal, that I was in fact rethinking our whole relationship. If he was going to go ahead and throw all of our sacrifices down the drain for a rock. He got angry with me and said that he only wanted me to feel special, and I reminded him that for me, us being financially stable is much more important than a piece of jewelry. Anyway, I'm posting here to see if taking back my acceptance was really an idiot move, or if it was justified. Under normal circumstances, I'd say you're being silly over a ring, but it's very clear that he couldn't afford this ring. The cost of it was important to him for some weird status reasons, and that you discussed your prioritization of healthy finances. With all of that, you're not the idiot. It's like he listened to your objectives of healthy financial planning, but never actually learned anything about it. It's like, I must quit smoking, and when I succeed, I can start smoking again, because I know I can quit. Seriously, it's just crazy how your partner can emphasize something so important to them and you whiff it this badly? And who wants to be worried about losing a 4K ring? It's a burden, plain and simple. Geez, I can't imagine walking around with something that cost as much as a used Toyota Corolla on my finger. Honey, being debt-free and financially stable is vital to you, and you clearly don't feel the need to be adorned with expensive stuff, especially not at the cost of going into debt. He's completely disregarded what I assume he must know about you by now, after having spent 7 years together. So, no, I understand you. 100% not the idiot. However, you are at risk of being an idiot if you waste any more of this bloke's time. Sounds like there may be a rather large compatibility issue here, and you've already sunk 7 years into this. How much more time do you want to waste, hoping you'll come around to your way of thinking, or marrying him just to then argue with him over money for the rest of your life? By the way, as you probably know, depending on your local laws, the moment you marry, you would become liable for that $14K too. My brother went to prison for identity theft and forgery when my niece, now 18, was only 7 years old. I raised her from the point. Now that he's out, he's visited us a few times. The first visit was a little bit awkward. I had asked my niece if she was ready, and she said she was, but it was still a little weird. On the second one, it was better. On the third visit, he found out that I had allowed her to do boxing since she was 10, and that she was still taking classes with a personal trainer every week. My brother got upset about it. He said girls shouldn't do boxing, and that I had failed as an uncle. And I was just standing there stunned for a moment. Then I asked, should I have committed forgery and gotten sent to prison like you? It's your fault you weren't around to make the choices. In hindsight, I realized it was kind of an idiot move for me to say that to someone who just got out, and our mother also called me later that night to say I didn't have to throw that in his face that way. Am I the idiot for reminding my brother that it's his fault he didn't get to raise my niece? Not the idiot. He opted not to be there for her, and it doesn't seem like he tried to do any parenting from behind bars. If he's upset about the past, it's his way of deflecting the blame, and maybe he needed that reminder from you, as harsh as it may have felt. I agree. My stepdad was a sales guy who traveled to his district 3 weeks every month and then would come home and start moving stuff around for the 5 days he was home. My mother finally said, "You don't live here, you visit. If you move that chair I sit in and read in the sunlight during breakfast every morning one more time, you won't be visiting either." Let's not forget his extremely misogynistic comment. He should be thrilled his daughter knows how to box. She can protect herself. It's a great exercise, keeping her fit, and it's amazing for self-confidence. All of these things are things a young woman needs to help make her way in this world. Yeah, brother is the idiot and always will be, and now mom's the idiot. He's got to live with his own failures, not attack you for your success. Having a daughter who's a trained boxer is amazing, by the way. I'm sure she has great confidence that many of her peers don't. You failed as an uncle? Well, that's because you were busy being a dad, and your kid, yes, yours, not his, knows it.